I said, as a reminder, we will host these Zooms the second Thursday of every month, 30 minutes of information followed by a short break and 30 minutes of open office hours where you can ask us any of your gathering questions, even if they're not related to that night's topic. And in case you have to miss a month or you want to rewatch or share with the other adult leaders in your congregation, recordings of each Zoom are uploaded to the Gathering YouTube channel and the LCMS Youth Ministry Facebook group.
I'm always impressed at how fast you can do that.
I say it a lot of times, so. If we haven't met yet, my name is Meredith Smith. I'm here with DCE Juliana Schultz. But tonight, we're actually going to turn it over to Becky and Emily to talk more about gathering registration process. So let's kick it over to them.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining our Zoom. My name is Emily Myers, and I'm the Registration and Arrangement Specialist. So I'll be helping a lot of you guys with your registration questions and when you're going into Bravura.
Good evening. My name is Becky Kammeyer. I'm the Youth Ministry Operations Manager. And so my job basically is to help Emily with registration. I'll see all of you at registration next year. I'll be doing all your housing, and I work with our transportation team.
Great. So we'll start off by discussing some key terms to help you understand phrases we're going to use throughout this presentation, in case some of these are completely new to some of you. And you can also find these on our Adult Leader resource page on the Gathering website. You can scan that QR code. But first we have Bravura, which is the online registration program that we're using for the 2025 Gathering. We also used it for the past Gathering. So this is where PALs will put in their information for their group into Bravura in October, and you'll finalize it by November 1st to get that $395 fee. And every important registration and hotel-related piece of information is going to be in Bravura, so this is super important, vital for your registration. And remember that the PAL should be the only person going into Bravura for consistency, and since the PAL has final authority for group decisions. That leads us to our next term, online data entry. So this is a period of time that primary adult leaders have to enter their congregational details into Bravura. We'll open this in October, so it's coming soon. And this is a continuous period of time, so it doesn't really have a cutoff date until May. So you'll still be able to add people, make substitutions and cancellations after our postmark dates. And our last and probably most important term is the congregation ID. So this is the number that is uniquely tied to each individual LCMS congregation. And this is the most important piece of information you're going to need to provide anytime you call or you email us, if you need to make any changes, and also when you mail us with your registration information and your payment. This is the first piece of information that Bravura is going to ask you when you register online, so have that on hand when you're first getting into Bravura in October. And please always provide this whenever you contact us and when you mail us. We need to know exactly what church we're talking to. There are a lot of St. Paul's in the LCMS system, so yeah, just thousands probably. But, yeah.
All right, thanks, Emily. We're going to move on, and I'm going to talk to you about some key important dates. First, I'd like to share with you that we will have Bravura open for you to data entry by October 15th. We're working on a few last-minute tweaks, and we'll have it ready for it to go, and you can start entering your youth and adult volunteer information into Bravura from the worksheets that they've already completed for you. The next date that's important is Friday, November the 1st. This is the date you will mail your completed registration to the Gathering office. Take your completed registration to the post office, put it in the mail to us. Starting November the 2nd, the registration price will increase to $425. It will remain at $425 until March 3rd, and at that time, the price will increase to $475. Also, a gentle reminder that any registration received postmarked before November the 1st will be returned to you and will delay your registration. So make sure you get there on November 1st. If you choose to mail in your registration on November 1st, we are shooting for late November to have most of the registrations received, processed, and entered into Bravura, where you will be able to see your registration as accepted. You will not see it as marked as completed until all payments have cleared. May 1st is the next important deadline. That is express registration deadline and the last day that you can add new participants. This is an important date you want to put on your calendar. All of your payments must be postmarked by this date for you to take advantage of express registration at the gathering. That means your whole entire balance is paid in full by May 1st. Also, May 1st is the last day you can add any new youth or adult leaders to your group. From this point forward, you will only be able to substitute and cancel. And finally, May 28th will be the last day that you can substitute or cancel any registrations. And then on May 29th, registration will close.
Awesome. A lot of important dates to put in your calendars. We'll move on to the age requirement. So this age requirement will let you know which youth at your church can attend the gathering and which adults can be leaders in your group. So for adult leaders, you have to be at least 21 years old at the time of the gathering. And then for youth participants, they must be 14 years old at the time of the gathering or entering his or her 9th grade year at the time of the gathering. They also must not have turned 21 by the time of the gathering. But we do suggest that students who are 19 and older or 1 year out of high school apply to be a young adult volunteer. And those applications are on our website. They're still open. They'll be open until December 31st. And as for the youth to adult ratio, we have the following graphic as part of our resources and in our FAQ page. So please keep in mind that you need to stay within this ratio and to have at least 1 adult for every 5 youth and to not exceed the maximum number of adult leaders. So we do strongly recommend that all groups have at least 2 adults and that each community group have at least 2 youth.
Okay, thanks, Emily. We're now going to talk about worksheets and forms. What are worksheets? You can find youth participant worksheets and adult participant worksheets on our website under registration. These are worksheets you can print and give to your families and individuals to complete and return to you so you have accurate information for your data entry into Bravura. They also serve as a hard copy for your records with all the important information from each person attending the gathering with your group. The worksheets do not need to be mailed to the gathering office. They are for you to keep. Forms. After you've entered all your information into Bravura, you'll be prompted to print the pastoral affirmation form and registration account form. Please have your pastor sign the pastoral affirmation form and include both forms along with your payment in the registration you send to us. Just a quick side note, every time you add or substitute a youth or adult, you will have to have a new pastoral affirmation form signed and sent to our office along with a registration account form and payment. Special needs forms are found in Bravura when you are registering a person you have identified as special needs. Please complete their basic registration, then move to the special needs form and complete all of those questions. When you're finished, you hit submit. The special needs team will be notified that a form has been submitted. They will review it and reach out to work with you and your special needs person in early 2025. And then the final form that you would find in Bravura for you to do is the LCEF account form. And you would need to complete that if you're choosing to pay with your LCEF account. You will need to complete all the account information on this form found in Bravura when you choose your payment method. You will print the form and have the account signees sign the form. It's a very good idea to have your primary adult leader or PAL become a temporary signee on this account, especially if you're going to be paying your final payment at registration in New Orleans. Rahima from LCEF will be here next month to walk you through the ins and outs of using your LCEF account, or we're really happy to answer any questions you may have regarding paying with this account. Remember, the account signee that will more than likely not be your pastor. You will need to plan for time to get the correct person and the correct signature on that form so you can get that in the mail and postmarked by November 1st. Remember to put that in that form in your registration packet. If this signed form is not included, your registration packet will be returned to you.
Great. All right, let's get into online registration. So, like Becky said, we'll be opening data entry for registration in October. So your church's PAL, which is probably most of you attending this Zoom, will be able to enter all their information from the worksheets into Bravura. So all of the youth participant, adult participant, and special needs information that she mentioned, that'll be entered into your church's registration. So you'll receive your pastoral affirmation form to print once you fill out every adult and youth's registration. So everything will be provided in Bravura. And you'll also be able to print out that registration account form with your group's information once you complete registration to mail to us. So some other things to note that will come up in this initial registration include your program option preferences. So on this slide, we kind of explain the two different types. We have on-site learning, on-site service learning, and then we also have off-site service events. You could also choose neither if your group chooses, but it's good to talk about this with your group, with all the kids and parents and adult leaders to see which type of service event you prefer. On Bravura, you'll also be able to choose how many king and double rooms you think you'll need. So that's an initial question. So it's really good to do the math ahead of time to figure out before November 1st. Becky will go over the math side of that later in the Zoom. But you'll also be able to state if you'll be traveling with another group, which means you may want to be housed at the same hotel and maybe even seated with them at the mass events. So you'll be able to enter each other's congregation IDs. Each congregation will register as individual churches. They'll print out separate forms, like Becky said. They'll make separate forms of payment, but they'll mail everything in together in one envelope. That way we know that each congregation in that envelope is going to be going together, so that we can eventually house them together. And we know that this is a lot of information, but we will have step-by-step videos made available for this. You know, if it's your first time doing this, if you have any concerns, the videos will be able to guide you through this online registration process smoothly.
So, yeah, we really do want to make this smooth, and so we're trying our best to give you all this information. So let's move on to the payment options. All right, so first, obviously, is the LCF account transfer. Complete the LCEF form with the account number and the assignee and include that in your registration when you mail that to the gathering office on November 1st. If you choose to pay by check, we do not accept personal checks. All checks must be from a church or the youth group account and made payable to LCMS Youth Gathering. Money orders or cashier's checks are also accepted. Those also would need to be payable to the LCMS Youth Gathering. Make sure the amount of your check, money order, or cashier's check is the same amount that is on your registration account form. If we receive a payment for a different amount, your registration will not be processed. Do not add any other payments on this check, registration only. All checks, money orders, and cashier's checks must have your congregational ID number on them. We are very excited to be offering credit card payment. So you'll be prompted to complete your transaction by providing your credit card information. It can be a personal credit card or the church credit card. You will be charged a 3% processing fee when paying by credit card. You still need to print the registration account form and mail it with your registration to the gathering office. For credit cards only, you will need to process your card payment, to print your pastoral affirmation and registration account forms to send to us, so you are able to process your credit card payment before November the 1st to be able to print your forms and get them signed and sent to us. But you still need to have those pieces of paper, the two forms, they still need to be in your registration packet postmarked by November the 1st. All right, with all these payment options, it's worth reminding you of a few items to consider at the time of registration. First, we have no preference on your payment type. We encourage you to check with your church leaders to determine what is the best payment option for your group, as well as what the process is to obtain the payment. At the time of registration, you will need to make a decision to pay a deposit amount, which is $150 per participant, or you can pay the full amount and be ready for express registration right up front. Lastly, if you do choose to pay the deposit amount, you can use any of the payment options to pay off your registration fees before the May 1st date. So if you pay your deposit with check but want to pay the remaining balance with credit card in the spring, you're welcome to do that. That's totally up to you.
Awesome. So now that we know all the payment, we'll go into some registration reminders. So first, hotel travel and meal costs are not included in the registration fee. So be sure to plan ahead and budget for that and fundraise to help costs. Another thing to remember is that everyone who attends the gathering must register online. So if you want to be in our hotel block, if you want to go to the convention center or the mass events, you have to be registered in order to get wristbands into those places. So you won't be able to add people on site at on-site registration once we're in New Orleans. So please be sure to register online on time. And finally, PALS should be the only person contacting the gathering office to make requests or changes on their congregation's behalf. So if you're contacting us, also remember to provide that congregation ID. And we'll hand it over to Becky for some more information on housing, and then we'll wrap up and do our Q&A segment.
All right, thanks. So when we make it all the way to housing, I'm gonna be really excited. You've completed entering everything, and your registration is complete, and you will have provided to us your housing information. Please make notes that all gathering participants will be assigned to official gathering hotels. We should actually have a map up really soon, so Meredith will be putting that on the website of all the hotels. Congregations do not book their own housing. The gathering assigns all participants to their hotels. You'll be asked to request how many doubles and how many king rooms you want for your, during the registration process for your group. Double rooms sleep 4 and king rooms sleep 2. So please calculate that way when requesting, and also know that everyone is going to have to take some king rooms in their block. So please plan accordingly that you will have king rooms, you won't get all doubles. I'll probably start assigning housing in mid-February, and will do my very, very best to have it completed and published in early spring. You'll find out your housing assignment through Bravura. Once you've been assigned a hotel, we will ask you to go to Bravura to create and enter your rooming list and make a check payable to the hotel you have been assigned to and send it to the gathering office. The check amount will be for a one-night deposit for each room in your block. We will give you a due date for the rooming list and check when your hotel is assigned. So just a few hotel reminders here at the end. Hotels do not have shuttles to and from the airport. Do not request rollaway beds. The hotels have been instructed to not provide rollaway beds. And most hotels in New Orleans will not have breakfast included. Once you know what your hotel assignment is, you can check online to see if they have mini fridges and microwaves in any of the rooms that you'll be staying in.
Awesome. Thank you for making it through this whole presentation. We know it was a lot of information. But if you need any additional help, you can always visit the Gathering website to find our registration book and Gathering 101 for more help. These are great resources if you're new to this or if you just want more insight. And you can also contact us by phone or email if you have any questions. And you can join our Gathering Zooms each month to ask questions as well. And finally, as I mentioned, we will have step-by-step videos coming soon to help you get through Bravura. If you have any online registration issues, those can hopefully clear that up. So we'll kick it back to Juliana and Meredith for the rest of this.
Oh my goodness, Becky and Emily, I think we're gonna hand off our job. You guys just like, I'm good, you don't need to see us anymore. Becky and Emily can just, they are an amazing gift to our team, both of them, and we are so grateful that they're here, and I know you guys are gonna be just thrilled to work alongside them as they make our registration and housing and all of that as easy as possible. So I know we've seen a couple of questions. I think we've answered most of them, but if now is the time that we'll drop those questions in the chat, and either we'll answer them or we'll throw them over to, actually, we're just probably gonna throw them over to Becky and Emily, to be real. So somebody's asking, like, oh, I think Matt is asking us about like traveling together, right? There's some great advantages, especially for small congregations, right? In order, like, if you're gonna get benefits in filling a whole van, filling a whole bus, right? If traveling and then housing together helps provide a few extra adults to help cover your group, There's a lot of churches that are smaller that find some advantages in traveling together. Not every group does, right? Some small groups are 11 going by themselves, so that would be a great one. I'm looking here, Meredith, what other questions are you seeing here?
Are young adult volunteers able to stay with their home church group and participate with the rest of the convention after their volunteer time is served? So our young adult volunteers, or our YAVs, the short answer is no, they cannot stay in your rooming block, and you should not account for them when you're registering. We actually put YAVs in their own hotel with other YAVs. Based on their service areas, they get to room with other young adults. If you're talking about if you're coming to the gathering early to explore the city, or you're staying late to explore the city, then yes, please take in your young adult volunteers, help them with their travel and their rooming if that works in their schedules.
I see a great one that I'm going to throw over to Becky. Becky, if those groups are coming days early or days late, how would they convey that to you?
So when you pick your dates that you're gonna travel in your housing, it will account for you to pick those earlier dates and stay those later dates.
So you're gonna put those into Bravera,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That'll be in there, and then Becky will make sure that your housing can accommodate you on those days.
Elaine is asking if all the hotels are close to the convention center, or will there be shuttling like in Houston? Elaine, we're happy to say that New Orleans is a walkable city, so there will not be shuttling unless you need special needs shuttling. But all the hotels are not close to the convention center. Some are close to the Superdome. So you might be closer to one or the other, or you might be right in the middle. So, but you will not have to be shuttled unless, like I said, you're doing special needs, or we will have shuttling if you choose to do an off-site service event.
Yeah, we love a walkable city. It makes our event wonderful. It makes it easier for you, makes it easier for us. We love a good walkable city.
Valerie asked if the registration information has been sent to congregations. Yes, there was a purple mailer that was sent to every LCMS congregation. So you might want to check with the person who checks your mail. If you did not receive this mailing, it is not the end of the world. You can still register even if you did not receive the mailing. You'll just need to look up your congregation ID number online, which we have instructions on how you can do that under the registration FAQs, or you can contact the gathering office and we'll work to get you another copy in the mail.
Yeah, okay, great. Another one I'm going to throw to Becky and Emily. Becky and Emily, can one of you help just remind us of what the policy is for cancellations before May 28th? So before the cancellation deadline, what's the policy on that?
Sure. So if you cancel, we actually do suggest that you hold off until the end of May to see if you can find a substitution, because we do take part of the fee. So that $150 deposit, that's what we would be keeping.
Yes, try as hard as you can to find a substitution. So one, another young person gets to come to the gathering, and two, you don't lose out on that $150 that your young people worked really hard fundraising. Samantha asked about our contingency plans during, since this event is during hurricane season. If you guys have been watching the news, you know Hurricane Francine hit down last night in New Orleans. We are constantly in communication with the city, safety officials, the CVB. They are no stranger to hurricane season and what that means for events that happen in the summertime. So we are going to keep that communication channel open with them. We're going to pray that there is no hurricane the week of the gathering or the weeks leading up or after the gathering, but know that we'll be in communication with the city and then in turn in communication with our adult leaders if something were to happen.
Right. Okay. I'm going to try and hit a few really hard because we got 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
We're trying to get as many of these as we can. Right. Will there be a shuttle at the end of the night from the convention center after the last event of the day? No. It's a mile walk between the convention center and the Superdome, and so we have plenty of time in there for you to walk. You're going to have time to walk to your hotel, walk to there. Get some dinner on the way.
Absolutely.
And then it's all going to be walkable at the end of the day from that Superdome. The only place in which we provide that shuttle transportation is for people who have special needs. So if you have somebody who has some physical limitations who can't do that, please fill out that special needs form. That's why it's important. But we also will have the shuttle to and from that you can pay for at the
Yes.
end. That's the next question, all the shuttle questions.
We will make sure that there's a sign up link. I think it's about $25 per person each way, so $50.
Yeah.
That's what it was in Houston, so we would hope that it would be about the same amount. But that will come later in the spring. If you can wait that long, or if you want to go and look for your own transportation, you can always do that as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna throw one more question over Becky and Emily. The amount per person due on November 1st is
Let me say something else about the
go for it.
shuttle
Yes.
from the airport. You can't register for the shuttle online until you know what hotel you're going to. So that will coincide with us giving you your hotel information, will then come shuttle information to and from the airport, but they were correct and it will probably be about $50 round trip per person. And so that is a little more information on that. And when you register on November the 1st and you send in, it's $150 deposit. You will be given the option of a partial payment or a full payment. If you click partial payment, it will charge you $150 for each person you're going to be registering.
Fantastic. All right, if you have some special needs who needs that hotel closer to the convention center, yes, please fill out that special needs form. You'll talk to our team. The worst case is we say like, okay, great, we know about that and we're able to do whatever we need to help support that young person. But we'd rather know that and hear from them than not. Are there gonna be special night things at the home hotels?
There will not be events, if you've been to the gathering all the way back to like
back in the
2010.
day, yeah.
We used to do late night stuff. We don't do that anymore. Instead, we will host maybe one or two mass event pluses. We're in the middle of that planning process and hope to be able to announce that to you guys at the beginning of 2025. But there will be nothing specific in your gathering hotel. If anything, there will be mass event plus at the Dome.
All right, I can see two more and then we have to go, right?
Yes.
I'll do the first one, which is how will food be in every group gets to decide their own food. New Orleans is a food city. It's amazing, it's wonderful, but we will also have another comprehensive food plan. We have a great team of people who are working on a bunch of different food options and you will hear more about those things further down the road, right? We're working on the food process, so you'll hear more about that in future episodes.
And Elizabeth's group is taking the train. Is it easy to get a shuttle to the hotels? I've never taken the train down there, but I know that it's a really big train city for a lot of our Midwest groups. I think it's fairly simple to get from the train station to downtown. Now, wherever your hotel might be, that could be, the game changer. So you'll want to just maybe map that and maybe do some online research before you book those train tickets and take your whole group down there. I just want to plan that and see what that looks like. But it looks like there will be other LCMS churches taking the train. So you'll be able to look for them in their matching shirts.
We love that. Okay, yes, districts are going to hold special events again. That's something you're going to hear about in the future. But for now, we have hit 7:30. We are going to end that recording. Right, and then we are going to, we're going to see you for sure next month, October the 10th. There's your place that you can do that. That's all the time we have for the night. We are going to pray for you as you prepare for you and your youth to join us in New Orleans for Endure in 2025. If you have other questions, you can continue to leave them in the chat. We are going to take just an ever quick break. We will be back in just a few minutes to do office hours, and we will talk more, and you're able to then join us for that. But thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.